Hello everyone and welcome to our Australian Open 2020 prize giveaway, tennis racket giveaway, and fantasy team competition video.
Woohoo.
Let's go! Let's get down! Alright, so what Carla and I wanted to do this year is instead of talking about this on every one of our 5K Tennis Talk episodes, we wanted to do a separate video for it, and that way that those of you that do not play our fantasy team competition or do not play our tennis racket giveaway competition don't have to listen to the first 10 minutes of every show while we talk about it. So we will be talking about that here, and moving forward through the Australian Open, we will be discussing with all of the other players and competitors and these prize competitions. We will be discussing it there and in comments, etc. So I'm going to jump right in and try to make this short and sweet. So those of you that want to compete for the tennis racket in front of me, and some Y-Tech strings, if that's your choice, or a 5K tennis shirt or a Y-Tech shirt, then you can do so here. So I'm going to jump right in. A lot of you have played this before.
So is this the only video you're doing?
Yes, thank you for that. This will be the only prize giveaway video that we will do here at 5K Tennis for the Australian Open. So again, those of you that play, we're going to keep it right here in the comment section on this video, and I'll get into all those instructions now.
Okay.
Okay, but this is the one and only video, so on our 5K Tennis Talk shows, we won't talk about this so we don't waste a lot of your time, okay? So a lot of you have played this before, and some of you have never played this at all. So those of you that played before, listen to it because there are some slight, tweaks in the rules this year, and I'll get into that as well. So first of all, what I want to bring up is for the past couple of years, Carla and I have allowed fantasy team selections and the tennis racket giveaway selections to have or to be able to be placed on different platforms. I'll explain. Last year, Carla and I were taking what's the word for it? Applications or submissions.
They were coming into the emails.
Yeah, we had them, and I wrote this. We had submissions on Facebook. We had submissions on Instagram. We had submissions on Twitter. We had text messages. Those of you that are close to us, we had phone calls from a lot of you as well. Our phone number sits here if you want that. If we're around in your time zone, we'll talk to you anytime. But we had so many submissions all the way across the board. When it came down to myself and Carla keeping track of everyone's teams and their points, etc., it became really difficult and very time consuming to go back to all these different platforms and to scroll down and to find it. So we're going to make sure that we reiterate this, Carla, that once I go over the rules and you decide to play the game, once the Australian Open starts or the games, then all your submissions, if you wish to play, must be left in the comments section below the video. If you don't know where the comment section is, we've had that question asked before. Generally, if you hit a little down arrow near the title area, it'll expand into kind of a description field. And then if you scroll down on the video, below other suggested videos, etc., up will come finally a comment section, and you can put your submissions there. If there's any questions about where that is, please let us know, and we will answer them immediately.
So they have to submit on this video?
You must submit. I'll create a separate playlist, so that way it shouldn't be hard to find this video. When I download it tonight, I'll create a separate playlist that will say Australian Open 2020 Fantasy Team and Tennis Racket Giveaway. And that's where you can click and see this video and go back to it without problem. Okay? All right. So the only qualification you have or you must do to qualify to play is to subscribe. That's it. Hit the subscribe button. Turn the notification on if you wish or not. I say that because as we go through commenting and getting into teams, some of the trash talk gets quite intense, especially if one player is tied with another player or competitor, and then you guys have different players and those two players are fixing to face off. It gets kind of fun breaking down the matches and gives you more incentive to want to break down the matches. Anyway, let's jump into the rules real quick. Once the first ball is struck, the first match, first ball, whether it's your player or not, once the first ball is struck, number one, first match, court, whatever, once the ball is struck, the submissions are locked. Okay, we'll take no more submissions after the first ball is struck for the Australian Open. Okay, real quickly, I'm gonna make sure I got this done. At least my first page of notes. Submissions here must be subscribed, and the entries lock as soon as the first ball is struck. All right, so the first competition, I'm gonna go over the rules. It's relatively simple. Is the fantasy team competition that results in the top 2 players or the top 2 viewers that put in their teams. The top 2 will be awarded one of your choice of 4 different prizes. Let me talk about those prizes very quickly. The 2 top players can select their choice of 2 sets of YTech strings. Thank you, Team YTech, for supporting.
Got different colors here, different type. If you want to ask about the strings, you can message us and ask us, hey, what kind of strings are
Yeah, like for instance, I do the gist of the strings, so I'll jump into that real quick. We have strings like Copoly Hexagon X, which I love a lot, my string of choice. Textured Copoly, great spin, great power. We have things like Pro Tour, which is a round Copoly, really good string. I use this on a lot of hybrids. Another color of Pro Tour. We have Octo Twist, which is a really good string.
That's our next playtest.
Yeah, once my knee and wrist become healthy again to where we can go out and play, this will be the next string that we play test. I've heard a lot of good things about it. We have a lot of different strings. You can see them on the wall behind me. So if that is your choice and you win, then you can contact me and I will go over what strings are more beneficial for this type of game or for this type of game or for if you have arm issues or whatever. We'll go over that. So 2 choices of YTech strings. You know, strings are what, 20 bucks a set times 2. It's a $40 prize for the top 2 winners. 2 sets of YTech strings. Okay, number 1. Second choice you will have is a YTech shirt. Okay, nice shirts, dry fit shirt, short sleeve. We have some long, but they're really nice shirts. We like to work out in these often. The third choice will be your choice of either a YTech shirt or a 5K tennis shirt. Now, I want to mention about the sizes of the shirts. Sometimes we are limited on sizes of shirts. Our 5K tennis shirts are popular here where we live with our students. The YTech shirts are always very popular. They always look good out at the club playing, especially if you're hitting with YTechs. Looks really good. Sometimes sizes are limited. If sizes are limited and we don't have your size, okay, we do our bulk ordering for 5K tennis in late February and generally get our orders in early March. So if we don't have your size and you want, say, a 5K tennis shirt or a YTech shirt and we don't have your size, we can rain check you. I know last year, I think Casper in Poland, that one, wanted a YTech shirt, and we had to wait until we got our shirts and then get it out to him, I think so. So
he got the strings. It was
he got strings. It was someone else. And we do new colors every year. The first year we did our 5K tennis shirts, they were gray. The second year, they were blue. Next year, or this upcoming February, March, we haven't decided on the color this year, but we will have those shirts in early March. The last choice is if you want to play, but you're not a tennis player, you're just a fan, you don't care about the strings, you care less about the shirts, you don't need a racket because you don't play, even though you could win the racket and sell it on eBay or something. Just saying, you could. I mean, it's about a $250 setup, right? So, taking the racket, if you're internet savvy and you don't even play, you could sell it. Just saying. Just throwing that out there.
I think we had one guy that won it who doesn't play tennis. It was his first time hitting a ball.
Yeah, he won a Wilson Burn 100S countervail last year. I think that was Matt Kane in London that won that, right?
Yeah, it was.
So, lastly is if you don't want to mess with the racket, even if you don't want to sell it, we'll do $20 payable by, like, say, PayPal or Venmo, something like that. We're not going to put $20 in an envelope and send it anywhere, but we can do it instantaneously through some type of internet transaction, $20. So those are your 4 choices. Up to you. Here is the rules. All right, everyone will select 8 men's players and 8 women's players. Okay, 8 men, 8 women, right? So look at the draws when the draws come out and select 8 men and 8 women. However, you can only have a maximum of 4 men or 4 women that are seeded, not ranked in the world prior to the tournament. We had this issue last year. A lot of people picked Felix Auger-Aliassime, and he was ranked 21 in the world, but he was like seeded 19. So people picked him, and we were having to take a step back and say, hey,
ranked in the tournament.
Seeded in the tournament. Not ranked in the world. When the draws come out, you can only have a maximum of 4 players in the top 20 on the men's, 4 players in the top 20 on the women's, okay? The rest of those players, the residual 4 men and residual 4 women, must be seated outside of the top 20. Okay. However, you can have your entire team amassed with all players seated outside of the top 20. You don't have to have any inside of the top 20. Again, that your maximum is 4. You don't have to have any, but your maximum is 4. Okay. Scoring, how we score, relatively simple. Players seated inside of the top 20 are worth 1 point per match win. 1 point. Clear? Players seated outside of the top 20 are worth 2 points each. Okay? So the more players that you have seated outside of the top 20 getting 2 points each, the more players that you have, if those players are winning for you, you're going to jump out to a big lead generally. Okay? Because getting 2 points is a lot better than getting 1 point, right? Most of our winners in the past 2 years have won these competitions by having mostly outside of the top 20 players because they're tagging 2 points each, especially on the women's side, right? So if you pick Djokovic, Nadal, let's just say Murray was still around, and let's just throw him out. Murray, because he's pulled out. Let's say you have Murray, Djokovic, or not Murray, Nadal, Djokovic, Federer, Tsitsipas. Okay, they're only getting you 1 point apiece, especially if one of those loses early, and then now you got no points. So just remember that 2 points for everybody seated outside of the top 20, and most of the winners that win these prizes have their teams loaded with those outside of the top 20. I think someone that won it last year had like Djokovic only and Nadal, and then on the women's side had like only Osaka or something, and just ran away with it because he was winning so much with his 2 point players. He was like uncatchable early on. So understand that. Most of our viewers generally have a few. Okay, never mind. Okay, so after each round, we will add up your scores and basically keep totaling them in comments, right? However, it's kind of up to you to keep up with your scores, because it gets difficult for me to keep up with 200 people's scores. So make sure, though, that you keep up with them on your own, and when we get into the latter part, as long as everybody puts their teams in the comments, that way other viewers can go and look at the teams, and say, oh, this guy's got the same team I got, but I have Steve Darcis. I said that because he's playing on the ATP Cup right now. I have Steve Darcis, and I have Shapovalov, and they're fixing to play off. So I need my guy to win and him to lose, and that can put me in the lead. Let's go, come on, let's get down. So that's how it gets interesting. You have a team, I have a team, we differ by 1 player, and both of you are up at the top, or one's in 3rd place and one's in 2nd place, and you're like, oh, I can pull in the lead if that. So we want all the viewers to see your team, so that way other viewers can know what they're competing against, right? In the past, some of you are like, who am I competing against? I don't know what their teams are. I sent yours on Instagram. Can you tell me who I'm competing with? And that gets too much. So make sure all of your submissions that have your name on it when you leave a comment, you put your players, and that way everybody knows what the competition is like.
And this is just for
the fantasy teams.
For the fantasy
team,
not for the
racket. I haven't got to the racket yet. That's a separate game entirely. Okay? So after each round, I will add up scores. I always make a kind of a booklet and keep up with it. But again, my hope is that I don't even have to do that. I can just go to comments and then just put them on a tally sheet, right there. Or reply to your team in comments and put, okay, you got 8 points that round. Am I right? Question mark. So put them in comments. If they're not in comments this year, I'm just not going to fiddle with it, okay? It's just too much, okay? So I will keep score as well, but keep your own score because I'm human and I can make mistakes. And when we're dealing with a lot of money and prizes, you don't want to necessarily just rely on me alone because we do our 5K tennis show. I got to take notes and we have to write it out. So sometimes I don't have time to keep all the scores. But when the tournament ends, we will total up all the totals, and the top 2 players that amass the most points, the top 2, will win their choice of those 4 prizes. Carla and I do compete, by the way. However, let's say hypothetically I come in first. Let's get down. Let's go, because I plan to. Let's get busy. Come on. Carla over here, kind of sucks up the rear a lot. Anyway, I plan to dominate and plan to win. I'm just saying.
Well, I don't do good in the fantasy. I do better in the racket.
So we will compete. However, let's say I finish 1 and she finishes 2. We're not going to take the prizes from you. Number 3 and number 4 will win the prizes. So we're in it to win it, but we're not in it to take your prizes. So don't worry about if we win or not. Once the tournament ends, we will reach out to you in the comment or under your team and say, hey, you won. And if anyone else thinks they won and they're like, hey, wait a minute, I think I won, then we can all look at your teams you submitted and figure it out, right? It was harder to do that last year because it was just me on 12 different platforms, okay? There are some really hardcore players out here that do this fantasy team stuff religiously, okay? They are hard-hitting, they study it all year round, and they wait for these competitions that we do, and they're ready to play. So good luck to everyone, okay? There's a lot of good players out there. Casper and Poland dominates. Hitchhiker does very well. Who was the
I would wait till the draws are out.
Yeah, you have to wait till the draws are out.
Some people put their picks in before the draws came out, and that would kind of mess them up because there were certain players that were in the same draw.
Yeah, you have
on
to.
the same side of the draw.
It would be relatively naive to not wait till the draws comes out. Number one, what if you have two
Even
players?
your qualifying, see who gets through qualifying before you do it.
Yeah, wait until the draws come out because the seeding number one will change. So if you put it out now and the seeding changes, then you have an issue and you got to go back and correct it and edit your comment. It leads to confusion. Also, too, if you pick two players on your team and they meet in the second round, you're going to lose one of your players right off. So wait until the draw comes out. Select players that have some room to move before you start losing them. Generally, by the fourth round or so, you've already lost half your players. Now, last year, I think that Casper, and I forget who the other player was, had almost a perfect team heading into the quarterfinals.
No, it was like Jordan Nelson and
Was it Jordan Nelson?
Matt
Cain?
And it came out basically to just one match.
They were like perfect heading into the fourth round, and all of them were loaded with
it was Wimbledon,
with 2-point players.
It was Federer and Djokovic playing, so whoever would have won there won the racket, and that's what happened.
Yeah, so again, just be mindful of that. Pick a team where you have a chance for your players to move through and accumulate points, and don't choose players that are going to team off right at the get-go because the chances of you beating some of these really hardcore players, it's going to be slim to none. So, good luck. Did I miss anything here, Carla?
No, go to the next thing.
Yeah, by the way, these competitions lead to a lot of fun analysis. When you guys are competing for something and there's prizes and trophies on the line, and people begin discussing with one another in comments like, well, I think he can win if he plays this way. And you're like, well, so it leads to good conversation. So play the game. Why not? You're going to win something, right? Or possibly, right? All right. Let's go. Come on. All right, so the tennis racket giveaway. All right, this one is really easy and straightforward. Let me tell you about the racket real quick. All right, so for this tournament, I strung a slightly used, okay, so it's really a beautiful racket, by the way. When I say slightly used, there's a couple little scrapes on it, but it wasn't used much at all. I play with a different racket, and I used this for a little while. And
this was donated, actually.
Yeah, it was donated by one of our students, top-notch player, for this tournament. So this is a Yonex V-Core 97, the same type racket that Stanislaus Wawrinka used for a while. It has a 4.5-inch grip. I put a fresh overgrip on it. And if it gets a little dingy sitting here throughout the Australian Open, I will put another one on there for you. I will put a vibration dampener on it for you. And it is freshly strung. I think I hit about 8 balls with this racket, right? Something like 8 or 10 balls, 8 or 10 rallies, and I put it up. But it's strung with Ytex Pro Tour Black 16L. That's the gauge width of the string. A very, very, very nice racket. It's probably, I think new, it was probably about $200, $199. I've got about a $30 string job on it, $3 or $4 grip, and I'll put a $3 or $4 dampener on it. It's about a $250 setup, right? So even if you don't play, if you win it, you can sell it. I think on eBay it'd probably bring maybe 150, something like that. Something like that. I'm pretty confident. So this is the racket, Yonex V-Core 97 Dual G. Very nice racket. So hopefully you can see that. Okay, I'll put it here. Hopefully you can see that. All right, that's our Australian Open ball. Her friend went last year and sent us a ball in this book. That was from the Australian Open.
Well, I thought we were going to throw in, were we going to throw in an Australian Open shirt too?
I do have an Australian Open shirt. So you're telling me last year her friend went to Australia. And sent us back, I think it's upstairs, don't hit the camera though. Last year, she had a friend that went to the Australian Open and sent us back 2 shirts. One shirt, they're both size large adult. One of them I opened and kept. It's too big for Carla, but it's never been out of the bag. It's an Australian Open shirt from last year, I'll show you. Never been worn, tag still on it. Okay, Australian Open, paper still in there, tag still on it. There you go. Boom. Clear back. There's the front. So you're telling me, Carla, that whoever wins this tennis racket competition, you're going to send this shirt, which was $39.99 in Australia, so you're going to make it about a $280 prize?
Might as well.
Boom! Hard hitting in your face. Let's roll. All right, so here's how the tennis racket and shirt competition, so we're pushing a $300 prize here. Here's how it works, okay? Predict the men's finalists. Predict the women's finalists, who you think is going to make the women's final. And predict the winners of each. So predict the men's finalist and the winner. Predict the men's finalists and the winner. And in order to qualify to win, you need the following. Only 3 out of the 4 finalists and both winners. So let's say I choose Djokovic and Nadal, and I choose Djokovic to win. I think that'll probably happen. And I think a lot of people out there will probably pick that. So I'm assuming all the applicants will probably have Djokovic, Nadal, Djokovic, I'm guessing, or something close to that. And let's say I pick Osaka playing Serena and Osaka winning, right? Now let's say Serena loses in the second round. No worries, because I get a mulligan. I'm still in. I got 3 of my 4 finalists. And then let's say Djokovic wins that I picked, and then Osaka wins that I picked, but lost Serena. Hey, I win the racket, okay? Now, we used to do where you picked 3 out of 4 finalists and just 1 winner, but because of the big 3, it's just too easy. We'd be giving away $300 packages every tournament. It's supposed to be difficult. So let me reiterate that. Predict your men's finalists, your women's finalists, and both winners in order to qualify to win it. Now, I'll tell you what happens if there's a tie. That's happened before. So both winners you must get. You have to have both winners to qualify. And 3 out of your 4 finalists must make the final. When we did just one of the 2 finalists, it was too easy. So 3 out of the 4 finalists and both winners, right? Mm-hmm. If there is a tie between 2 people, let's say both of us picked Djokovic, Nadal, Djokovic, and both of us picked Serena, Osaka, and they didn't nail. That's what happened, right? How do we determine a winner? If you played fantasy team, we will look at your fantasy team's score.
What about they didn't?
If they did not play fantasy team, and let's say one person played fantasy and the other person didn't, the person that did not play fantasy team won't win. So make sure that you at least submit some type of fantasy team, right? Just something. Throw it on paper if you don't want to research it. Because if 2 people have the same draw, then I have no way to break the tie. Okay? So that's the criterion. Now, there is a kicker. Let's say 2 people have the same team and neither one play fantasy. Okay? Mm-hmm. I will look at number 1. If someone is perfect and someone lost 1 player, then 1 person will win. But let's say the teams are identical. Okay, identical team. We will figure out a way for a winner. We can flip a coin on a video, whatever you want to do, we'll figure it out. But I can promise you that's very, very lightning strike, chance in a zillion that will happen. But if it does happen, it might come down to a coin toss if you don't play fantasy. So if I were you, I would definitely select some type of fantasy team. Whether you don't care about it or not, put one in there. So that way, if you run into a tie, you still have a chance. Okay? So the stage is set. That is it. You have the rules. I should have described them clear enough, right?
Yeah.
If you have any questions, put them in the comment field on this video. I don't want to burden anyone else that just watches our show for the tennis content, and I'm not going to talk about it on a show this year. I promised a lot of viewers that asked me that last year I wouldn't do it this year, so I won't. Any questions, put them in comments, and we will get right to you, so that way everything is crystal clear. Carla and I will compete for the tennis racket too. We won't win our own tennis racket, obviously, but we will select teams for that as well. We love to talk smack. We love to compete with this, so we really like to get down and try to compete with you guys as well. So we'll be involved, but again, we won't take your prizes. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you don't subscribe and you do all this, you're not going to win. It's just hitting the subscribe button is absolutely mandatory. You don't have to put notifications on. You don't have to watch us ever. You might hate us anyway. But you must at least hit the subscribe button to qualify for this. That's your only qualification. Clear?
I hope not.
All right, so good luck to everyone. I'm putting this to rest. If you want to play, do not forget to put a reminder on your phone, calendar, or whatever, that I need to select my fantasy teams and predict the men's and women's finals before the first ball is struck Because if I get a comment after the first match starts and, oh, I ran late, here's my team, it's not going to be looked at. Okay? Clear enough? All right, good luck to everyone. Much love to all of you. We will see you probably tomorrow or the next day for some of this ATP Cup stuff. We've got it on now, so we're going to be watching that. I think Darcis is playing currently. I think David Goffin plays next.
Woo-hoo.
So we look forward to that. So I think
you said a lot.
I think Tsitsipas and Shapovalov play
That'd
later.
be a good match, yeah.
Anyway, I said a lot, but hey, it's important. There's a lot of money worth of stuff going out here. I wanted to be clear. And most of the people don't play anyway, so they won't even watch it this long. Anyway, good luck, take care, click subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow or the next day for a 5K tennis show. Adios.